कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
निताय गौर हरि बोल Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaura
Hari
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya
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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Shri Pad Shri Pad Shri Pad Srila Shri Pad Jaya
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 Jaya Sripad, 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 Srila Sripad.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Srila Gurudev Jaya
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 Jaya Gurudev, 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 Srila Gurudev.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaura
Hari
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gauranga Premanande Hari 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 Bol Bolo Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Nitai Gauranga Bhagwan Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Welcome everyone in this participation in this Param Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma, essential part of which is this study of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in, can you open the screen? We are in seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2. Is it possible I can see on my screen? What should I do? Share screen.
I think it is visible, Maharaj.
Swipe,
I
swipe,
have-
Maharaj. It is in the screen, another screen. If you swipe, it will know. You swipe.
Why it is not coming on my screen? I'm seeing only myself.
Switch tabs, Maharaj.
Huh? Oh, just a second. Let me see. Is it possible?
You can
What
join
should I
again,
say?
Maharaj.
Really?
Sign out and join again.
Okay. Let us see. Yes, thank you. So we are in 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2, text number 36. Tatra hai preta bandhunam ashrutya pariveditam paridevitam आहतान बालको भूत्वा यमः स्वयं उपागतः. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. So this is Hiranyakashipu relating one history of one king. When he died, then what happened to the queens? They were lamenting. He's just trying to tell that it's not necessary. So while the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries, queens' loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraj. That's why Yamaraj comes here now. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them as follows. Responsibly, please. While the queens were lamenting for the dead body,
While the queens were lamenting for the dead body
of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraj.
their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraj.
Assuming the body of a boy,
Assuming the body of a boy,
Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body
Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body
and advised them as follows.
and advised them as follows.
Purport. Just so 1 second. Yes. Purport. Sometimes the living entity is forced to give up his body and enter another one according to the judgment of Yamaraj. It is difficult, however, for the conditioned soul to enter another body unless the present dead body is annihilated through cremation or some other means. The living being has attachment for the present body and does not want to enter another. And thus, in the interim, he remains a ghost. If a living being who has already left his body has been pious, then Yamraj, just to give him relief, will give him another body. Since the living being in the body of the king had some attachment to his body, he was hovering as a ghost. And therefore Yamaraj, as a special consideration, approached the lamenting relatives to instruct them personally. Yamaraj approached them as a child because yes, so let me also use the internet here. Sometimes. Okay, Wi-Fi and okay, okay. So it should be there. Quality in. Just bear with me. It should be all right now. Okay. Okay. Q. Okay. Is it all right now?
Yes, Maharaji.
Okay, I just use the additional network. Thank you for bearing with. So Yamraj approached them as a child because the child is not restricted but is granted admittance anywhere, even to the palace of a king. Besides this, the child was speaking philosophy. People are very much interested in hearing philosophy when it is spoken by a child. Om Adhyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Niti Namine Namah Sadbhakta Manaye Manipurudbhavaya Cha Srila Prabhupada Sadvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasyanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, in the previous slokas, the concept of bodily attachment, which is so real, but it's a problematic, and that problem is being addressed here through philosophy and the things. And the scriptures also, this human form of life, its great importance is emphasized. So it's like two standards set here, and some kind of confusion, tremendous confusion demonstrated here. You know, the scripture says, "Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam." This human form of life is certainly the great means to attain the perfection of our human potential, the param dharma. It is the means. Sadhanam means the means, and this human form is it's a great means because This human form of life is endowed with so many unique, wonderful things attached with it. Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna describes, Nideham Adyam Sulabham Sudurlabham Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadharam. Only in human form of life, one has the opportunity to attain the shelter and direction of Sri Guru. And Krishna has the whole Vedic, all the Vedic scriptures, the whole creation, everything, the focus is on the human being only. Because a man who can be modified, so modification or the real adjustment, the options are possible for the human being. Everyone else is just totally captured by their natural instinct. But human being has, he can just utilize, he can determine where he wants to reach. He can determine his destination. His destination is not predestined. This concept that, oh, everything is predestined, this is not true. Predestined is what we are honoring, what we are having in the present moment. But from whatever facilities we have is the manifestation of our pre means before, performed before. So whatever previous actions we perform, right now, whatever is manifest is like predestined, you know. But it does not apply to the future. Future is still in the hand of men. So how we utilize our present situations, facilities, and what are our options? Considering our options, the concept of attachment to our present body means because of its usefulness, you know, where it can lead us to. This question always remains. So how far and how much our attachment to this material body is justified, because it is very useful. It's amazing that in human form of life alone, we have this opportunity to inquire about our options. No other where we can end up, and we can work up to it before death strikes, isn't it? So Dattatreya, he met a lot of gurus as he was wandering, but then in the conclusion, towards the conclusion, he puts in a proper perspective the usefulness and how we deal, how we relate with this human form of life, human body, because human body also teaches us a lot of lessons. Lessons in the sense that it naturally teaches us detachment, because no matter how much care we take of it, it just dwindles and becomes disease. And so no intelligent person will overly attach with it. Nonetheless, it has a tremendous usefulness. Where he describes Deho Gurur Mama Virakti Viveka Hetu Vibhratsma Sattva Nidhanam Satatarti Utpam. This body is a constant source of miseries, constant source of kuch khat hamesha. This body doesn't let us live peacefully. It has constantly. So a contemplative person, what he should do? He should describe parakyam iti avashito vichiramya sangha. He says, I know this body belongs not to me. This body actually does not belong to us, does not belong to the soul. Parakyam, it belongs to someone else. Just think of the destiny of this body. When cremated, when burned, it turns into ashes. When it is buried, it is consumed by the worms, and so it lies idle or dead in the jungle or anywhere. It becomes the stool. It is consumed by the jackals and all the animals. This is the true reality of this body. Nonetheless, it is the means to attain the perfection of our human potential. So there is always this discussion, as we discussed several times, the most amazing and beautiful thing about the death, because the death accrues to this body. Why death is so beautiful? Why death has to be described as most beautiful and wonderful? Because it is most certain. If something is so certain, like in stock market, if certain stocks give most certain or guaranteed return, everybody will participate in it. So why death should be decried or feared or even? It is simultaneously most certain and at the same time most uncertain also. But the beauty is that right at this moment, death is not coming. That is the mercy. Mercy means the bonus time. So we are all living in a bonus time. We all can appreciate that although death is very certain, but at this very moment it is not coming. So whatever time is left with us by the mercy of Krishna, we must utilize it. We must utilize it. It should be prepared for. It should be prepared for the greatest celebration of our life. The moment of death is the greatest celebration of our life. It is a completion. It's the finishing line. We have discussed this many times. It must not be feared. It must be honored and prepared for, contemplated upon. You know, uncertain things give us shock. Correct? Uncertain things suddenly happens. Why should death give us a shock? That should be totally, one must be prepared for. It should not be, because it is very certain. But in the present moment, since it is not taking place, it is our time to realize, like bonus time, when somebody is living in a bonus time, like a vacation, bonus vacation, even vacation he is getting paid. But with this understanding that the bonus time will be over, it won't last forever. This understanding, when it's awakened, then we can definitely prepare, avoid so-called shocking or horror or fear of death, because it is very certain. So that's why how to address this issue, because the situation presented in this page is the lamentation which the queens are doing and all these things. This looks like very real story for all of us. How to make the change. How Srimad Bhagavatam is going to change this for us. Can the situation be changed, or we will be also just thinking, yes, this happens to everybody? No, it need not happen to everybody. It need not happen to anybody in a human form of life. That's the beauty of this human form of life. Make the best use of. We have to make the best use of this present, whatever time left with us with this body, to attain the perfection of our human potential. That possibility is there. Fully awakened spiritually. We owe this obligation to ourselves. Obligation to Krishna, obligation to Sri Guru. We oftentimes I give these three examples. Means how much we love our beloveds, so-called, or how much I love myself. This question I must raise to myself, challenge myself. How much I love myself. Although in identity crisis, nonetheless, the reality is open to everybody. Everybody faces death. The body, death accrues to it. How I address, what are my options? What I, with the human intelligence, what what I'm up to and what are my options. This is very simple thing. Just think of the concern the parents have for the child. When child if doesn't come back from school in time, what happens to us? We are so concerned about its well-being, its protection, safety, and nourishment, and everything. If it comes home in time, then very safe, worry-free. Correct? Because we are very much concerned. The daughter is given in marriage to the another house. She goes to another house. Parents try that she becomes happy in the other house. Somehow, if she doesn't become happy, she becomes miserable. Daughter can come back to the father's house because father is very much concerned. The child, the girl which was raised with so much love and concern, and so we are concerned that she becomes happier, if not happy, if not happier, but we cannot tolerate her becoming miserable. So that concern is there. At least come home. But one day, every beloved will leave and won't come back. Are we concerned enough? We were concerned, oh, the child didn't come from the school. What happened to her? And we try, make every endeavor, every effort to find out about the well-being of the child. If the daughter is not happy after marriage in the in-laws house, she is provided. What provision we have made? Thinking when the person leaves this body, where would it end up? The provision has to be made. If we want to be called as intelligent being, this provision has to be addressed. Just think of this. In the material world, they have insurance policy. The strange thing that one who is insured is not the beneficiary. Anybody ever thought about it? Life insurance is not the beneficiary. Those who are dependent on him for their well-being, he just does this. So there has to be some insurance where we are the beneficiary. Because if we put so much endeavor, if we don't become the beneficiary, what is the value of our endeavor? Ultimately, we become the beneficiary only when we become connect to Krishna in loving attachment. Srimad Bhagavatam says, "Na utpadayet yadi ratim shrama eva hi kevalam." If all our endeavor does not lead to our attraction to Krishna, and so much wastage of labor. A person puts so much labor, so much energy, so much intelligence. It doesn't lead to the real concrete or something tangible benefit in his life which he can hold on to. This is the science of consciousness. If his consciousness is not raised to the absolute platform, then this opportunity given to us in this human form of life is violated, it's defied. And how many times we have done this? We have defied this opportunity. Identity crisis is so deep-rooted. It is almost impossible to get over unless we become contemplative about it. So Srimad Bhagavatam, these episodes, they force the human being to really think about where we will end up. Do we love ourselves enough? If I love myself enough, should I not be concerned? Should I not be inquisitive? Where will I end up? This question must haunt us. Not like when one becomes very attached to the body, just like the king is very attached to the body, and now he's hovering like a ghost. While we are in this body, while the body is active, we are so used to this body, correct? While the body is active, this question must haunt us. Where will I end up? Once the body will be exited, or we will be forced to exit this body, why to lament then? Where should be our lamentation while we are in this body? Where will I end up and what are my options? Just think of this car, this body is just like the car. They say in America, the best used car. Which is the best used car? Anybody would think of which is the best used car? It's very this concept is very relevant to the. So they say the best used car is the one which we are still using. Makes sense? We are still using, isn't it? Because we are so used to. Used car means something we got used to. And so if we get used to something, that is our best opportunity. That is our best say. So in the same way, the best opportunity to attain the perfection of our human potential is with the present body. With the body we are still using. We cannot afford to not use it to its ultimate potential. The current opportunity is our best opportunity because we are so used to it, we can handle it better than we will be able to handle any future opportunity. No, the current opportunity cannot be let go. We cannot wait for a better opportunity in the future. Why? Because we do not know what future holds for us and cannot be sure that we will be even as awakened as we are at this present moment, as we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. It is causing a lot of awakening. So, Turnam yateta na patet anu mrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya khalu sarvatansha. After many, many births and deaths, one attained this human form of life, which, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Then, if this is the fact, then if we think we are intelligent, sober human beings should quickly endeavor. This quickly word is very, very magical. Quickly. Sober person should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life. As long as his body, which is always subject to death, again the same point, has not died. As long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down or died. Fallen down also mentally we become invalid. Physically also become invalid. So as long as our mind and body are together, we must strive quickly, very seriously. Turnam yateta na pateda numrityava. It's not fallen down. After all, sense gratification, which, in every life opportunity, we become attached to the body and the bodily relations. It is not a new thing, but it appears very new, novel. This is our tendency when we think about, since eternity, we have taken unlimited number of human births. And in every birth, the same thing happens. We become attached to that present body and the present bodily connections. Day before yesterday, Maharaj gave a classic class. It was so absorbing. By the time I wanted to come, it was all over. but it was the wordings are very sounding that we must prepare. We must prepare before the situation becomes lamentable like these screens here. We can avert this. If Srimad Bhagavatam and these episodes, they make any sense to us, we must come to this conviction that we have experienced what this so-called attachment of our present spouse or children or family, all these things, multiple times, unlimited number of times. And we procrastinated before. That's why we were given another opportunity. We will be given another many more opportunities. When will we stop? We have taken shelter of Sri Guru. He has become the ideal in front of us. We can look up to us. We can look up to him and follow in his footsteps. What else is needed? Otherwise the formality of this material existence, they never end. Only our opportunity in this present form of a human, it will end. It will end. It will not be permanent. So the whole idea is that one may wonder, since the body is so useful, why not remain attached to the body? Why not? And because body is accepted as guru by Dattatreya. So why should be ungrateful to the body? We should become attached to the body, take the best care of it. But we have to understand the separation of sadhan and sadhya. The human body, taking care of it and massaging it and becoming engrossed in its gratification, it would defy the very purpose of attaining it. Unlike in sadhana bhakti and sadhya bhakti. Correct? Sadhana bhakti, whatever limbs we follow, like 64 limbs or whatever limbs we follow, it is not different from prem bhakti or bhava bhakti, because it's the same thing. It is just a different positions. It's like water in the beginning is liquid, but when it becomes condensed, it becomes solid. So this sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prem bhakti, they are just one thing, but different, what you call, different situations of the same thing. There is no separation, because whatever we do during sadhana bhakti, we do very consciously. It's a very conscious effort with struggle we do. But in the perfected stage, everything happens spontaneously. Subconsciously, everything happens. So dedication, beginning, struggle, very conscious effort. But when slowly and gradually, that same sadhana bhakti ignites our attachment to Sri Guru and Gauranga, then it becomes. But in case of this human form, human body, if we give it more than just to make use of it for its real purpose, if the purpose of a human body is violated or forgotten or overlooked, then one becomes engrossed with this bodily identification, this identity crisis which has haunted us for eternity. Now, if you want to get out of this haunting of identity crisis, misidentifying this body as the soul, this question must be asked by every human being. This question must haunt all of us. What am I up to? If I think I'm very intelligent, where will I end up? I think this should be the question. Do I love myself enough? Am I concerned about where I will end up, or I will remain oblivious to this very fact? We are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. This question must haunt us. What we are up to. What we are up to. If this question haunts us, definitely the necessary modification will transpire our lives. transpire our consciousness, because it is meant for it. Considering the things which make us very much attached to this body, this excessive attachment to the bodily sense gratifications and things, we must, knowing the destiny of this body, it's not something which is concrete or something we can be very proud of. Then the usage of the body for the ultimate cause is within our reach. If we ignore, if we overlook, undermine its purpose for which this body is given to us, then we will fall in the same trap as this queen's lamenting and king is getting a ghost body. So these are like simulations for all of us. If we contemplate about these situations, we can avert them to become reality for us. We don't want to be trapped by the same situations. It is very much possible for all of us. And that is the magic and beauty of this Bhagavad Dharma. And after having taken shelter of Sri Guru, the liberated personality, it behooves, we owe this obligation to Sri Guru, that we will do everything within our command, and we will not fall trapped to the attachment of this present body and its relations, because we have experienced it unlimited number of times. Doesn't matter. Okay, we made somehow couldn't come up, but no more waiting. Don't depend. We cannot afford to depend on future opportunity. Or future opportunity will be better. This lifetime, let me remain attached to my spouse and children, everything fine. Again, death will come and unfinished business remains unfinished. Still unfinished. And we sustain our circular journey, birth and death. This is how life is. We have ourselves deceived ourselves. A human being self-deceives, self-deprivation as they call it. Can we afford it anymore? Let this life not cause self-deprivation for any one of us. Hare Krishna. Thank you, all the Vaishnavas. Any comment, question, or addition, please come forward.
Hare Krishna Maharaji. Thank you for the nice class. Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise the hand and ask His Holiness Bhaktiswarup Govind Madhav Maharaj. Yes, Balramji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna,
Very amazing class.
Bhagavatam is very amazing. Bhagavatam is very amazing.
Yes, Maharaj Ji. And when you are speaking, it seems even more. Yeah.
I'm not able to.
My question is,
imbibe so much. Whatever little, I'm just trying to remind myself that I'm underperforming. So I'm just pushing myself. That's all.
Yes, Maharaj. But I mean, still, it's it's very nice. So the question is, this question I asked, I think yesterday. So our relation to Guru and any other or any family relative. So when they die, we say we should. We should feel sorrowful guru, but not for the other people, the family relatives. But I mean, when we see this body actually fulfills the purpose of life, our life, and also any bodily relationship that actually has the purpose of what is that, selfish sense gratification. Because I mean, whatever bodily relations we have, those are basically for our selfish sense gratification. But with Sri Guru, as you mentioned, this is pure. So in this way, this is okay. That, but I mean, how do we get this in our realization that we lament for I mean somebody and do not lament for somebody else? So
very good. Actually, lamentation means hankering, hankering for the real thing, for eternal bond. When one feels the departure or personal departure of the spiritual master, because spiritual master is in his Nitya Swarup. He is not just what it appeared. He has attained his Nitya Swarup. He's to be viewed and perceived and honored and loved as a dear associate of Krishna. That is Sri Guru. This is the Swarup of Sri Guru. He described that especially it's a customized manifestation of Krishna for the disciple. As we discussed many times, the 5 manifestations of Krishna described, because we have no experience. We can imagine how much we will honor Krishna if Krishna personally comes as Shyam Sundar, how much we will love him. But that imagination can be practiced, that can be, we can demonstrate it in relation with Sri Guru. The Sri Guru is not only Krishna's Swarup, but also Krishna's Rupa. And Swarup means his Mahima. The simple understanding of Swarup and Rupa. Swarup is identity. If somebody is very... so when we describe that Jive Swarupai Krishna Nityadas, this is the greatest glory of the living entity. But even in that greatest glory, until we find out what kind of servant that is, who that servant is, it's a eternal associate, but in what mood? Dashyaras or Sakhyaras or Shantaras or Vatsalyaras or Madhuras. So the spiritual master is identified as per the aspiration we receive through the teachings of Mahaprabhu. They are devoted to the divine couple. So spiritual master is one who is devoted to the divine couple, living with the divine couple, the shelter of Radharani. So that is what we aspire, correct? So the spiritual master, when he disappears, the cultivation, the affinity, attachment, because we experience dealing with him. It's not just honoring him, but it's loving. Ujjata and Priyata, these two concepts are very, very... We may find someone very honorable, but like we consider Krishna very honorable, we consider Prabhupada and all the previous acharyas very honorable. Even when we read and study them, do we make the necessary sacrifice to transform our lives? The ultimate sacrifice of transformation is done in relation or for one whom we love. So when the family members whom we love, when they leave, and we did so much sacrifice, but what we received? This question must be asked by every sadhaka. However, sacrifice, great sacrifice, and everything we devote, how it benefits the soul? Our attachment to the bodily relations, how they benefit us, rather they deprive us. They take our focus away from the real need or interest of the soul. Where's the lamentation in separation of the spiritual master and Vaishnavas? That's on the spiritual platform, because spiritual master has enlightened us about the eternal nature of the soul. So that is the difference. One is on the spiritual platform, it connects us to Krishna. And the other lamentation keeps us on the hankering, material hankering. So hankering on the platform or lamentation on the material platform is really miserable, because it is in hopelessness, because they cannot be brought back. The body relations, when they are finished, we cannot reclaim them. But spiritual master, because we realize him as the eternal associate of the Lord, our hankering to gain his association will capture our consciousness, will bring our consciousness on the absolute platform. So hankering on the spiritual platform is having it, because it is never hopeless. Rather, it intensifies and focus. It frees us from all the unwanted anarthas in life. So hankering, apparently both are hankering and lamentation. One is making us miserable, and other makes us eligible to attain the perfection of our human potential. So apparent and real, these things has to be described. Our consciousness.
Yes, Maharaji. Yeah, very nice, excellent. So I have another question. When we think, let's say, the gopis or Radharani and the Moises, so they are in different platform. So similarly, Guru can be in different platforms, the different stages.
Guru is a transcendent.
And when we,
yeah, because that's why Srimad Bhagavatam na malte buddhya asuyeta sarva deva mayo guru. The concept of Sri Guru, it has to be properly understood. Apparent, because we are so used to seeing just the apparent, and we can judge as a human being. But what is the reality? What is the Swarupa? And what is the Rupa of Sri Guru? It is a Rupa, identifying him as the associate of Krishna in relation to the divine couple, as the associate or maid servant of Srimati Radharani, or whichever aspiration we are cultivating. So we see our Sri Guru already attained that status which we are aspiring. So he is the ideal in front of us all the time. And because he is the person, and the exchange dealing we had, it caused our rati, liking, priyata. Priyata is of the Rupa. So only when we appreciate Sri Guru as an associate of the divine couple, in that capacity, in that way, we will develop that affinity. प्रियता रूप से है, पूज्यता स्वरूप से है. He is very elevated, very wonderful, eternal associate of the Lord, but in what form? Form matters. Nah? Form is Rupa. You fall in love with the Rupa. Correct? You don't fall in love necessarily just somebody's highness, somebody's a president, somebody's the such and such, all the titles. You develop the liking with the person who dealt with us. And that's why it becomes very essential. And only when you develop affinity for someone, you hanker for the association of someone, that will cause the total transformation. Mere pujyata, merely honoring, is formality. You know? Guru puja is just formality. But loving Sri Guru, then you transform completely. To please him, if you love someone, if you like someone, to please him, if it requires all in sacrifice, we are ready for it. Just as people do so much sacrifice to please their spouse, isn't it? Because there is liking. They may honor some guru or some saintly person or even God, but how much sacrifice they make for Krishna or other people, very honorable people, more honorable. But jahan chahat hoti hai, where there is a liking and a transformation or sacrifice. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam, this shloka appears in 11:26-26. It's such a powerful, it's made such an impact in my contemplation. Tato dusangam utsija satsu sajjeta buddhiman. On the spiritual path, a person is not considered intelligent unless he has become attached to a saintly person. Our spiritual intelligence is captured only when we find affinity for a saintly person, for a pure devotee. Because that affinity, that liking of a pure devotee, we won't quit his association. We will do everything, even when we are conditioned so badly. But if we value, if we develop liking for a pure devotee, Sri Guru Charane Rati, Aise Uttama Gati, Nauttam Das Thakur says that it will cause our wholesome, uproot our anarthas and unwanted things completely, because I cannot afford to displease or give up the fortune of attaining the pure devotee shelter. So this is very, Siddhanta has to be contemplated upon. What we have got in our fortune, in the human form of life, is the shelter of Sri Guru, the purest of devotee. My Sri Guru is the purest of devotee, eternal associate of Krishna. And if I can simply stick to his lotus feet and stick to his service, the ultimate good will be done to me. That is the way. This principle has to be contemplated upon, because bhakti is contemplation. Bhakti is constantly growing in our consciousness. That is the swarupa of bhakti, bhava. Bhakti is not like intermittent, okay, like 16 rounds we finished, and now what we do? Sometimes the question I reply, rather than asking how many rounds you chanted or how many, one should ask how many hours you chanted. So after that, what we did when we were not chanting. The whole idea is it has to catch our consciousness. The bhakti, the devotional mood of loving service has to be in our consciousness all the time. Then every moment becomes sublime, rather than intermittent devotional service.
Yes, Maharaji. Very, Yeah, very nice. So I have another question, same question as Brasput Maharaj written in the chart. So
Let me ask
the
you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
yes, yes, Maharaj. So the death is the goal of the. I mean, in the end, we have everybody has death. It's certain. But it is the most beautiful thing in life also. But how do we prepare ourselves
Yes.
to make it even more beautiful?
Yes. Srimad Bhagavatam is precisely teaching us the art of honoring death, because it guarantees, if you are preparing, if you have targeted something sublime, that achievement will come only after death. So why shall we defy death then? So before death comes, we better finalize what we are aspiring, what we want to achieve. Krishna, there is a saying that man proposes, correct, and God disposes. Do we believe that Krishna disposes everybody's wish? So what we wish, Krishna will dispose it. Believe me. So we can be very choosy. We can be very. We can find out what our options are. This is where the human life, human intelligence comes to rescue us. You know, we can explore our options, and Srimad Bhagavatam helps us tremendously to go for the juggernaut, the ultimate, and not settle for anything less than the best. Why should, if we take so much pride to be called intelligent beings, and somebody challenges us that you are underperforming, it should be taken as a challenge positively. Yes, if our consciousness becomes absorbed in the absolute, then death becomes a celebration. Death is not a shock. It won't be a shock. Only for the ignorant people, those who live in identity crisis, death is a shock. Because what we are conscious of. We are what we are conscious of. So it's a science of consciousness. And who can defy the end? We discussed that before also. The Shastra says, Ante Jai Mati Sahi Gati. But who can define end, death? Whatever we are in the present moment, that is also our end. There is no difference. Whatever we are conscious of in the present moment, that is the end of our existence also. Because present only is constant. Present alone is constant. And if we have captured, if we have safeguarded our present moment, then we have perfected the death or end. It is as simple as that. But it will require a lot of contemplation. And contemplation is always in the present. Contemplation, our consciousness is always in the present. Because that is what defines our end or destination. So no more shock about death, because it is very certain. And something which is very certain, it should be honored. It should be prepared for. And it marks the finishing line of our journey. It is meant to guarantee our perfection of human potential. So only if we become awakened through Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. Jivane marane gati ara nahi. Narottam Das Thakur says, Radha Krishna Prana Mora Jugala Kisha. Jivane, while living, we are serving them. And if we practice serving them while living, then when we will leave, we will be seeing that they are just there to receive us. So we contemplate like that while living in this body, we are serving them, we are thinking about them, we are glorifying them. And so when we have no other agenda we are catering to, then that is the symptom of a liberated person, that while living and while leaving, he has the same agenda. While we are living in this body, we are serving the Supreme Lord, glorifying Him. And when we will be asked to leave this body, we will be entering Vishate Tadanantaram. We will be entering the realm where the eternal seva and engagement is waiting for us. So death causes our eternal engagement. Death transfers us to our eternal engagement. Guarantees that's the moment. So if we are aspiring for our eternal status quo, which is not possible within this body, this body has to be left out. If we contemplate on our eternal status quo, then death is the most coveted moment. We don't force it, but we wait for it. Yes, let it come. So it all depends on the consciousness. If we are conscious spiritually, then death is no more a shock. If we are conscious material affairs in identification with this perishable body, then it's a lamentable thing. But if we think of about our eternal Swarupa and eternal Rupa as an associate of the Lord, as the associate of our Sri Guru, who is an eternal associate of the divine couple, then death is no more a shock. That's the only example I can give. Maharaj, something you are thinking, you will share.
Yes, Maharaj, very nice. I mean, while living and leaving,
Yes.
the same agenda
Same.
should be adopted.
Then he's a liberated person.
The Krishna
We are
consciousness agenda. Yeah.
We are not averse to dying if it is for Krishna, correct? And we
yes.
are not in favor of very much attached to live only here if it is not meant for Krishna. Why to live here if it is not meant for Krishna's or Guru's seva? And we are not averse to dying if Krishna is calling us, you know. So a sadhaka, a person who is in proper consciousness, is not averse to dying, nor is he favoring to live here more than. So that's in either case, while living here or leaving, his goal is the same. Then Jivane Marane Gati are nahi more. It's not that while living in this body, I will do something, I have some other agenda, and once I leave this body, I will be deprived of this. No. In a pure consciousness, under all time, one has only one agenda. That is the service and pleasure of Krishna, pleasure of Krishna, pleasure of Sri Guru. That is very much possible.
Excellent, Maharaj. Very nice.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Balram. Yeah, Maharaj, I have a question. Could you explain a little bit about the prominence of Tirobhav in Bhagavad culture?
The importance of Tirobhav?
Yeah, Maharaj.
Yes, because it's just to increase our hankering. You know, we could not value Sri Guru. We wished we could value him as such, but as whatever love how much he loved us, we can imagine, and we could not reciprocate equally. So that is the lamentation. And that lamentation, that hankering, it gives us the pure state of our consciousness. Because hankering on the spiritual platform is having it. Hankering guarantees our attaining the supreme destination. Because how much we value it, only because we could not value it enough. That's why the hankering, lamentation is there. So naturally, it helps us grow in our love. This is how we wish we could do much more when he was there. Nonetheless, his mission is, he has left his mission. Guru Maharaj used to say that our mission will outlive all of us. You know. So there is a cure, there is a build-up on that hankering or lamentation of feeling the separation of the spiritual master. It expresses our genuine love for him. And the genuine love for him will transform us totally with additional vigor, that whatever I missed out on, let me just catch up to it. So this Tirobhav festival is it causes the real, it's like reinstates our conviction and dedication to the spiritual master, because he is manifest in his mission. Mission outlives our physical duration. Mission continues. We can become more dedicated to the mission of the spiritual master, even after his physical departure. But that contemplation, that understanding, it's not that, oh, once the spiritual master is no more with us, so now I'm free. Now I'm free, I'm independent, or anything like that. Rather, to an awakened sadhak or shishya, it makes him more involved and more mature fast to take more and more responsibility, rather than isolating himself or herself. So, hankering or lamenting or feeling the separation of the spiritual master is meant only to involve us more and more, and that is a sign of more advancement. Guru Maharaj was asked once, Maharaj once related, okay, what is this? What is the symptom of a person who is becoming more advanced in Krishna consciousness? Guru Maharaj would say that he will become more and more involved, rather than retiring from the active. He will become more and more involved, because our life, our journey of this path of pure devotional service is never static. It is only ecstatic, becomes ever excelling. We don't stop. Like the mother Yashoda never stops to please Krishna with many, many more variety of things she does. She's become more contemplative. How more to please Krishna? In the same way, in hankering and lamentation, in separation of the spiritual master, it makes one more grounded in how we can serve the spiritual master mission, even in his physical absence. Whatever ideals, whatever directions he has left, we can benefit from it. We can honor, we can identify those who are more devoted than myself, and take pride because spiritual masters is expanded in his dedicated followers, and it must give me tremendous joy to appreciate others is more devoted, having more love than myself for the spiritual master. So this Tirobhav festival is a tremendous uniting force to the genuine followers or loving disciples of the spiritual master. It's not just a formality. It brings out. It is meant to bring out the best of devotees, and it is meant to really lift or decondition us from the unwanted conditioning. It reinstates our true relation with the spiritual master. We can see that he is being called by Krishna to serve Krishna directly. So that sets like a forerunner. Yes, Sri Guru, I am also joining you. So we are just hankering. We are asking him that Dhaitava pache pache. I'm just following behind. So then our journey will become risk free. We will not pitfalls. We will not subject ourselves to pitfalls or deviations or distractions. Our focus will be so in Tirobhav. We contemplate, we reflect on the divine nature or divine status of the spiritual master, and by appreciating it, we also attain the eligibility to attain the divine status ourselves. All right.
Yes, thank you, Maharaji. Thank you very much. Yeah, we may conclude for the day, Maharaji.
Okay. Maharaj wants to say something. Prithvi Mahaswamiji.
Dandavad Pranam Maharaj Ji.
Dandavad Pranam, all glories to Srila.
All glories, all glories. Nothing to speak, nothing more to speak, Maharaj Ji. It's very, very enlightening lecture. There's one hand raised. Was it addressed?
Yes, Amrita Ji, please.
Pranam Shri Guru Maharaj. And
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and Pranam all the Maharajas and devotees, and Hare Krishna to all. And really, it's a very, very amazing and wonderful lecture. And I think it's not a lecture, it's more than lecture. And the line that you said, that we can't wait for the better opportunity in future. The current opportunity is the best opportunity, is very enlightening. And the question is that the tears when we lost someone very close in our material relation, it becomes the reason for our agony. And but when the tears which come for Shri Guru and Radha Krishna, then it transcends our complete consciousness, and which is our real destination, we can say. But then how this acknowledgement come in people, that tears are same, but for whom we are it's come, it change our future, and that's it.
That's why the Sri Guru is not just a mortal being. Na marte buddhya suyate sarvadeva maya guru. Only Krishna is sarvadeva maya. And Krishna has manifested at Sri Guru. So he is also sarvadeva maya. Krishna is establishing. So Sri Guru is in his eternal Rupa also. In Swarupa, every living entity is Krishna's servant, correct? In spite of in Swarupa. And Swarup cannot be violated. Swarup में कोई विकार संभव नहीं. Every living entity in whichever body is eternal servant of Krishna. स्वरूप में विकार संभव नहीं है. जीव का स्वरूप नित्य कृष्णदास, nobody can violate it. That's why. But विकृति आती है किसमें? स्वभाव में, in the disposition. So we have been having so many dispositions, and according to our disposition, different bodies we have received. But the spiritual master, his disposition is he's the eternal associate. He's the dear maid servant of Srimati Radhika. So that is her disposition. That is the Rupa. And you fall in love with the Rupa. You may honor somebody's high status, but unless you meet that person, unless you relate with him, you cannot fall in love. So the liking, जो प्रियता है, वो रूप से है. पूज्यता है, स्वरूप की है. इस बात को समझना होगा. We honor somebody because of their status, but we fall in love with somebody's rupa, the disposition, how. So in the same way, the spiritual master comes in our life, we deal with him. We not only honor him, but we develop affinity. We develop rati. We want to please him. We want to do everything within our capacity to earn his ultimate favor. You know, we want to impress him. We want to do everything. So this is not so. That's why I describe I was in Atlanta and in Prabhupada's glorification. I said that to honor Sri Guru as Prabhupada is not enough. We honor Prabhupada is very high, but how much it has transformed our lives? How many anarthas we have been uprooted still to be uprooted? But when you develop affinity, liking, priyata for someone, then it's a wholesome transformation comes. That's why Sri Guru Charane Rati, when somebody developed liking, attachment for the Sri Guru, then instantaneously all the anarthas, they become uprooted. One doesn't become distracted and he doesn't take any other process. He becomes directly takes to a direct process. Teaching it causes the tremendous complete transformation, complete sacrifice. Atma Samarpan is only possible when you develop the liking for someone. So to develop or we have yet to experience our liking for Krishna, correct?
Yes.
We study, but one can definitely experience a liking for the spiritual master because we have the opportunity to deal with him on a very personal level. So whatever we imagine, how much we will worship Krishna, how much we will love Krishna, one can experience same thing. And it is greater than experiencing Krishna because that is not experienced yet. But the experience with the spiritual master is a real thing. And that's why our scriptures describe that we honor the spiritual master and love him as much as Krishna. But it is actually greater than Krishna because whatever we experience has to be given, has to be put or recognized as greater than what we have not experienced. Rather, experiencing the love and attachment for the spiritual master guarantees our attachment for Krishna. This is Bhagavad verdict. That shloka is very powerful in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's 3.7.19, I think. Shloka. Yat sevaya bhagavatas kutastasya madhudvishe rati raso bhavet tibra padayor vasanardin. The tibra attachment will be caused when one serves in attachment the Sri Guru. Then it guarantees. Otherwise, so we may think, oh, I want to develop loving attachment for Krishna. Will we go or we will want the guarantee? An intelligent person will just rather capture the guarantee. Okay, doing this something, attaching oneself to the service and pleasure of the spiritual master, it guarantees my attaining tibra. Rati raso bhavet tibra padayor vyasanadana. And it uproots all the causes of our misery, the anarthas. So simultaneously, two in one, So Sri Guru becomes the complete package. This is sometimes I like to describe. Sri Guru is definitely the complete package. He can be treated, he can be perceived to include. He's our brother, sister, mother, father, husband, and greater than husband, and Krishna, Radharani, and ultimately the eternal Sakhi, eternal maid servant of Srimati Radha. So sometimes it is described that to perceive Krishna in Sri Guru is bhav ki purnata. To perceive Radharani means we honor Sri Guru as Radharani. वो भाव की पूर्णतरता है. And to be able to perceive Sri Guru in his as the eternal maid servant, associate, वो भाव की पूर्णतमता है. तो वहां पे पुरुष भाव का तो कोई स्थान ही नहीं ना. This पुरुष भाव is causing our bondage to this material world. पुरुष तो एकमात्र कृष्ण है. Radharani is totally captured by Radharani, and we are all just meant to serve the divine couple. So when Sri Guru is perceived in his eternal form, वो हमारे भाव की परिपूर्णता है. So that way we can appreciate the concept of Sri Guru. It's anything but ordinary. It's anything but of this mundane world. Na malte buddhya sveta. We cannot. The disease of seeing the spiritual master as a mortal being, that is what has caused our perpetuation as a sadhaka in this material existence. So sadhaka, in order to expedite his journey out of this material existence, he better perceive the spiritual master as he is, as it is, and not on the mundane platform. So spiritual master should not be described as perfect or imperfect in that duality. He is transcendental. Otherwise, even people find faults even with Krishna. But Krishna is transcendental being. His so-called apparent faults are also his glories. In the same way, the spiritual master situated in his absolute consciousness in relation to the divine couple, we must perceive even spiritual master doing everything is transcendental, apparent, not so perfect or whatever. It has to be perceived. It's just like when you fall in love with someone, everything about that person you like, correct? Do you judge, oh, this is bad, you give him less number for performing this way or that way? No. So this Sri Guru Charane Rati, it's a real thing. It is not different from loving Krishna directly. It's a very real thing. The concept of Sri Guru has to be properly addressed, contemplated upon. Then it guarantees our perfection of human potential in this very lifetime. Hare Krishna.
Very, very beautiful. And a small question, can I ask?
Do ask.
Yes, that we all take care of our body in material world in spite of knowing that one day it will turn into ashes. But in spite of this, that we should, but the reality is that we should take care of our human body as it is the means to attain the absolute, and it is the means to serve our Shri Guru. But if sometimes in anyone's life it happens that because that what will I say, that in the tears, the lamentation is so much for Krishna and or Shri Guru, then that time they may not able to take care of that body also, because maybe, and so that time it means that they do not their duty about in for Shri Guru and Krishna. So that time, how it is possible for anyone to take care of their body, to think that it is the means
That's why
to
we don't live in isolation. We always are in association of like-minded sadhakas and devotees. Sajatiya Ashay Snigdha Bhakta Sangha. Rupa Goswami described the fourth limb of Sajatiya means same, having the same aspiration. Sajatiya Ashay Snigdha means those who are lovingly disposed towards us. Such devotees Sangha, and we will be reminded to do the needful, and we cannot just harm our present existence also in a human body. It has to be taken care of just to make the best out of, to get the best out of it, rather than causing our absorption or obsession about it. It is just the means. It is not the end. When people consider this human body and its need, its gratification as the end of life, this is what this misidentification is. But a spiritually awakened person, he knows get the best use of this bad bargain. This human body is a bad bargain, but it can give us the ultimate reward. So it should be taken care of, and it should not be spoiled. We don't commit suicide, that's why, because that is a violation of the opportunity given to us in human form of life. Because body has its purpose, and purpose has to be fulfilled. Then we'll be all right. Then we can control, we can modify, and we can work up all the informations how to make the optimum usage of this human existence. Become completely free from the fear of death. That art we must learn through Srimad Bhagavatam. We must work up to our consciousness, raise our consciousness to the absolute platform, and that will be just a stepping stone to attain the absolute realm. So it's all in the consciousness. All right.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Thank you.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Maharaj, there
sindhubhyascha.
are 2 more hands raised, so shall we consider or shall we?
Yes. For me here it is only 11:36 in the midnight, so perfect time for me. Go ahead. Who is asking?
Anita Mata.
Anita ji, Srikant.
Hare Krishna, Maharaji. Dandavat Pranam to everyone. I'm sorry for taking your time. It's 11:30 in the night.
No, it's fine.
When we were discussing about Guru, I don't have any question about Guru or anyone. The thing is, I had many experiences with Guru. I just want to share. What is that, like before marriage, when we used to go to our Maharaji, he used to treat us like a student, Guru, like teacher. He was our teacher, and he used to be very strict for 8 years. And after marriage, he himself said once, Mataji. Then before marriage, he used to call us by name, and after marriage, he used to call us by Mataji once. I felt so different. Why Maharaj is calling Mataji? And later stage, now he's on bed. Everyone has to pray for him now. He is having a bone fracture in his hip joint. So nowadays he's treating us just like mother. When he was asking, I have a hurt here. He's showing us all the hurts wherever he has, and he's sharing all his problems to us. Nowadays we feel like he's like our son, and I really I get cry when I go in front of him. He is literally like a child, small child. He doesn't know, he is not eating anything. When we are feeding him milk, at least when I go there, he treats that, okay, she came, okay, I have to drink, because she won't leave me. Like that. That is the experiences, when you are sharing, when Balram Prabhu was asking the question. This is what I want to share. Maharaji, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Ultimately, what kind of relationship, what kind of perception we developed about the Swarup and Rupa of Shri Guru. In this present body, we can treat him as per his need, and sometimes body becomes sick or whatever, but we have to perceive, we have to find our love to his eternal Rupa, which is beyond this present manifestation. And this is very, very essential. It is a real subject. Okay. And Srikant Prabhu, please add something.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj ji.
Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Sripada.
It was a very beautiful class by Maharaj ji. I just want to relate to today's date. Today is Ganesh Chaturthi. So this day also we can use for remembering Krishna. I just wanted to share that. It won't take much time. The thing is that in Ganesh Chaturthi, one curse was given to moon that whosoever happens to have a vision of moon on Ganesh Chaturthi, he will be considered as the most sinful person. So Bhagwan kind of in Dwapar Yuga, he protected us by saying that whosoever hears the story of Syamantak Mani, that pastime of Krishna, and whosoever reads that, remembers that story, does not have to go through this trouble, even if he looks at the moon. And then the qualities. So in Ganesh Chaturthi also provides us the opportunity to talk about Krishna. And a little bit about Ganesh, he is one of his name is Vishnu Priya, which means he's very dear to Sri Hari. And second is he only was writing, transcribing Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, the understanding was that they won't speak the next sloka unless and until the transcriber, which is Ganesh himself, understands the shloka, previous shloka. So it means we can safely understand that our Ganapati has understood and realized each and every shloka of Bhagavad Gita also, which is because Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. So in this way, we can say that Ganapati is a nice devotee of Sri Hari. Thank you very much. Every Ganesh Chaturthi, I definitely speak on this. I've been doing this for the past many years, so I thought I must speak today. Thank you very much.
गणपति के इष्ट तो भगवान कृष्ण ही है। यत् पाद पल्लव युगम विनिधाय कुंभ द्वंद्वे प्रणाम समये स गणाधिराज विघ्नान विहंतु अलमश्य, क्या है, विघ्नान विहंतु अलमश्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविंदम आदि पुरुषम तमं भजा. So he receives all his powers to remove the obstacles of within the three worlds by holding Krishna's lotus feet on his tumuli, on his whatever you call. And so he tusk. And so Ganesh ji ke ishta Bhagwan Shri Krishna hai. So sometimes I ask this question to people, who is the ishta of Ganesh ji? They say, oh, Shiv ji. मैंने कहा शिव जी तो पिता है, जो पिता के इष्ट होंगे वही तो पुत्र के होंगे ना इष्ट. शिव जी के भी इष्ट भगवान श्री कृष्ण हैं. So Ganesh ji is a good follower of his greatest Vaishnava father, Shiv ji. So they worship Krishna, holding Hare Krishna. Thank you, that was wonderful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Guru Govind Maharaj ki
Jai.
Samaved Nitai Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class at 7:30.